Now let's look at equations with one fraction. So I know a lot of you don't like working with fractions or decimals. Now in this part I'll show you some easy methods to get rid of the fractions first of all. So hopefully you guys can recognize the idea. Let's get started. Starting with question 26. Okay, we've got a fraction. We've got x plus 3 divided by 2 plus 4 is 9. And the annoying thing about this question is that we have a fraction. I really don't like working with fractions. So what I do to get rid of the fraction is have a look over here. Remember guys, when we had, say, x divided by 3 is, 2. How do we get rid of the 3? Well, because we're dividing by 3, you guys probably remember it as multiplying by 3 onto the other side to get x, right? But remember what I told you guys? When we're doing something to an equation, we're actually doing it to both sides. So I'm not just multiplying 3 to this side, I'm also needing to multiply onto this side. Now remember guys, if we're multiplying something to a fraction, we're multiplying it to the numerator only. So it's going to be 3x on 3. So here guys, if these are the same, you can actually cancel it. So that's how we just get x equals 2 times 3, which is 6. That's how the fraction becomes eliminated. Remember that? Remember I'm telling you that we're doing something to both sides actually. So that's what I'm going to do here. What's the denominator here guys in this question? Can you guys tell me? The denominator is 2, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is multiply every term by 2. Because when I'm multiplying something to one thing, you can't just do it to one of them. You have to do it to everything in the equation. So see here, I'm going to get rid of that denominator by multiplying by 2 there. And I need to multiply the 4 by 2, and I need to multiply the 9 by 2 as well. You need to multiply everything by 2. So this is what I'm doing. So let's show you a neater working out. So I multiplied the fraction by 2, I multiplied the 4 by 2, and the 9 by 2. Now remember guys, you don't have to multiply everything by 2. The whole fraction, you just multiply 2 once, okay? So that's a lot of mistakes that students make. Now here guys, remember if we're multiplying to a fraction and these are the same, you can cancel it. Okay, so we get rid of the fraction. So we just have x plus 3 left, 4 times 2 which is 8, and 9 times 2 which is 18. So we got rid of the fraction. Okay, so now simplify. So x will just be 18 minus 3 minus 8. So move the 3 and the 8 over to the other side, okay, by making it opposite signs. And that should be 7. Okay, so x is 7. So the key thing here, guys, is to identify the denominator and multiply by that denominator to everything in the equation. Okay? So 27. What's the denominator here, guys? You tell me. Yes, the denominator is 3. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 3 to the fraction, to -1, and to 5. So multiply 3 to everything in the equation, like this. So 7 plus x over 3 times 3, -1 times 3, 5 times 3. And you can see that this 3 and this 3 will cancel out. So we just have 7 plus x, -1 times 3 is -3, and 5 times 3 is 15. Now, I'm going to leave the x on my left and move all the constants over to the other side, the right side. So x will be 15 minus 7 plus 3, which is simply 11. Okay, get the idea? So again, I multiplied everything by the denominator. 28. Okay, guys, what's the denominator? 3. So it's again 3. So I'll do the same thing, multiply everything by 3. So I'm going to multiply the fraction by 3, -2 by 3, and 7 by 3. Okay, and again, these will cancel out. So we just have 2x plus 7, -2 times 3 is -6, and 7 times 3 is 21. Now, I want you to get rid of the 7 and the -6 first by moving it over to the right. So I move my constants all onto the right. So 21 minus 7 plus 6. So I just simply change the signs. And you can simplify it. 21 minus 7 plus 6 should be 20. Now 2x is 20, so what's x? Simply divide by 2 to get 10. So x is 10. Alright, so if you need, guys, add in extra steps for your working out because you're likely to make some mistakes, silly mistakes. Okay, what's the denominator? That's always the first thing you should identify. Denominator is 7. So let's go ahead and multiply everything by 7. So the fraction by 7, 5 times 7 and 2 times 7. So again, you can see that will cancel out. We just have x minus 12 left, plus 5 times 7, which is 35, and 2 times 7, which is 14. Now, move all the constant numbers over to the other side. So I have 14 plus 12 minus 35. And you guys can calculate that. It should be negative 9. Alright, so that's the answer, negative 9. So after you get rid of the denominator, it's all very, very simple and logical. What's the denominator? 2. So, do the same thing, multiply everything by 2. So 3 times 2, the fraction by 2, and 1 by 2. And you can see that this one and that one will cancel out, which is excellent. 3 times 2 is 6, and then we have, guys, just be careful, this negative here is for the whole fraction. It's not just for 4. Okay, so have a look here. Say if I have negative x plus 2 divided by 2. This is an example, by the way. If I have negative x plus 2 equals to 2, it's negative for the whole thing. So it's negative times x plus 2 over 2. So if you want to move the negative onto the top, it's going to be negative like that. Okay, so if it's out the front in the middle, it's negative for the whole thing. But if you want to move that negative up, you're going to make it negative x plus 2, which if you want to expand that out, negative x, negative plus is negative. So see how the sign here changes to a negative? That's the key thing here. So see how we cancelled out the 2, which is good, but now we have to expand out with a negative. So negative 4 is negative 4. Negative x will be positive x. This is the important part. This is where everyone makes mistakes. You have to be very, very clear with this one. Okay, so that's the key part. And then 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, get the idea? And then of course, leave your x here and move 6 and 4 over to the other side by switching the signs. And then just calculate that, it should be 0. So x is 0 is the answer. Okay, so make sure you watch out for that fraction with a negative in front. Okay, so finally, what's the denominator? It's 3, so multiply everything by 3. So multiply the fraction by 3, 2 times 3, x times 3. And then again, I like this part where I can just cross it out. So I simply have 4 plus x plus 2 times 3, which is 6, and x times 3, which is 3x. And guys, don't say x3, always write 3x with a number in front. Okay, now I'm going to move the constants together and the pronumerals together. So move the 3x over to this side, so I have x minus 3x, and the 4 and the 6, move it to the other side by making it negative 4 minus 6. So switch the signs around. Now, what's x minus 3x, guys? If it's just x, just make sure you know that it's 1x, right? So what's 1 minus 3? It's negative 2, so we have negative 2x. And negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. Now, x, how do we get x? We don't want the negative 2 out the front. We just need to divide both sides by negative 2. So negative 10 divided by negative 2, negative is a positive, so it's going to be positive 5. So if you just need an extra working, x is negative 10 divided by negative 2. Negative, negative, you can just cross that out, or you can think of it as negative, negative making a positive. So it's going to be positive 5. Okay, so that's why I just wrote 5. So make sure the key thing to this question is the signs. If you get the signs wrong anywhere, the final answer will definitely be wrong. So make sure you watch out for the negatives and the positives. Okay, so that's the end of this part.